Oh. Oh. Hello, Ben. Good to see you again, mate. Doing all right, I am. Just having a little decent day. Cleaning out a few things, like a couple of views I brought down to the house here anyway, so I can watch in my free time, really. How are you anyway? Are you okay? Just still collecting vinyl most of the time? Yeah, good evening, Phil Bloke. Hello, sir. Welcome back. You doing okay, Ben? That's good. Wonderful. Good to see you lot again. Just to clarify, I'm doing tonight anyway because I can't do Tuesday tomorrow because I'm working. I'm doing the evening shifts I am. But also, I found out, I checked my work rota, I won't be able to do even Monday or Tuesday, so I have to do Wednesday for next week it is. So same time, just on Wednesday for next week, if you don't mind, actually. It's just, I've got, it's busy with shifts really, that's the thing, unfortunately. Just bring it out there really. It wasn't planned or anything, it's just how it is really. Just with work in a minute really, so yeah, so I'll let you guys know just in case. Anyway, also, I've hit 200 subscribers, which is actually, I just found out just now actually, I thought, my God, have I really? No, right, I'm going to be down to England in 2 weeks. Good for you, mate. Be going down to England. So, like, was it just like for a holiday, really? Just spend time in the sun for a week or something, you know, or is it just like random stuff? I've had my first COVID jab on Friday. My arm hasn't dropped off yet. Good on you. Good on you. I've already been vaccinated months ago, actually, because my first vaccination was in January, and my second was in March. So I'm fully vaccinated. I am. I have the AstraZeneca. I have. Also, well done, 200 subs. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. I never expected to get 200 subs. Really strange, because my main man, who has been to a pub in the pub recently, actually said, "Yeah, you're getting close to 200 subs, Mike. You know, what are you going to celebrate with?" It's like, well, I don't know, actually. I probably won't get that far. I'll probably end up with, like you said, I think he checked, it was like 197, 198 it was. So I don't know. I'm going on holiday for a few days, but it's mainly going down there to see a baby that my sister's had. Ah, congrats, Uncle Ben. Congrats, mate. But hope you have a fantastic time in England anyway. Well, you'll still be here anyway, but for next week anyway. But wish you all the best for a good holiday down in England, you know. Hope it's nice and lovely down there. You know, decent weather for you. Hope you have a fantastic time there. So yeah, I wasn't expecting 200 subs, but we'll see how we do actually. Probably it might improve actually, I don't know. I'll probably end up with like 230 at the end of my channel lifespan, whatever, which is fine. Yeah. So good on you, Deidre Philbo. First COVID jab, of course. Funny enough, I had mine first in January, I did, and actually, you've had the Moderna. Okay, because I had the AstraZeneca. I did. First time I had that. Well, first job, of course, I had. Oh, I was fine because I was working, and it was absolutely. That was good. It's just the effects didn't hit until about midnight, and I was in cold shakes. I was, and you know, very cold and shivery. I was for the first jab. Then when I got back to work, of course, I ended up being tested positive for COVID. I did, unfortunately, which is I never had done throughout 2020. I've been always been negative, but from that first vaccination, I ended up becoming positive because I think it's all affects your immune system. It does really. So I had to go. I did lose my senses actually. I lost my sense of smell and taste of it for about 5 days. Funny enough. It was straight. It's a weird experience that was, like not tasting anything really. My mum booked me in because they opened it for the 18 plus. I had to go for the teen, yeah, for the young adults. Absolutely, yeah. Quite glad they actually came around to do vaccinating more than it anyway, which is pretty good. Absolutely, you know. Whereas with me, I basically work in care I do, so you have to be vaccinated anyway. So even you even depends what age you are anyway. Because I'm only 24, so or 23 when I got vaccinated, I think. So I end up you're supposed to anyway. It's just, you have to be vaccinated anyway if you're working still. So there you go. But at least young people 18 or over in their 20s, whatever, finally getting vaccinated, and that's brilliant. That's great. So the vaccinations are still rolling out decently. That's good. So again, we're still go on a good road. We are indeed. Fantastic. Yeah. So that's the only time I've been tested positive for COVID. Actually, everything else I've been negative for. That's just how it is, really. But that was from that first vaccination. But for the second one, I've been absolutely fine. From the one in March, and there we go. And ever since then, I've been roaming around city to city. Actually, interestingly, where did I go to? Obviously, I think I went to Carlisle, which I got season 23 from anyway. I also went to Newcastle for the first time as well. Actually, drove up to the northeast on my own. So there we go. Bought another mystery box, which I opened, which is actually all Disney related stuff, actually, which is interesting, really. Well, I didn't know what to expect, really, because it's like a mystery box, what to expect, and all this stuff like Frozen 2 pen and Mulan. What do you call that thing? It's like people use them. It's like some thermal mug. Sort of funny enough, thermal cup, which is not bad actually. Some 3D art, one to do with cars, and one to do with that. Some to do with like female DC superhero show, animated show, very much. Something like that I never even heard of that we were doing. I got a little bit nauseous right afterwards, but I think it was me thinking about it. I was in a warm waiting room afterwards with a mask on, but went after I left. Okay, I mean it's just like I think that's like just it's self-hitting and self-getting to your into immune system in your veins and whatever, that sort of thing. But we'll see. I think as you go on, you'll probably end up getting with pain very much. Some people do. I ended up with cold shakes. I did actually. You sort of feel go numbness afterwards, really. But other than that, I haven't really had any side effects. They said I sound okay. We'll wait and see. Actually, if everything does come out, it might take longer. Actually, who knows? Really, it depends. But there we go. That's just how it is. So yeah, that's the main thing. At least one vaccination's done. Good on you, sir. My arm, like hell, but it's getting better. That's good. Like ease. Anything else? You might feel okay actually. Depends after your second one, really. Who knows? If we're in 2 months or something. Who knows? Really. I guess I have to wait a week to puke my guts up. I don't think you'll puke your guts up, I don't think. Unless you do suffer from nauseous or something. Usually that is like I don't know, it feels like you're suffering from cold turkey, actually, to be honest. Here's a question for you. Where did you get that "Right Here We Go Again" audio clip from your series and confessions? That come from Jeffrey Kitch. If you're familiar with that, what was it called? Yeah, Jeffrey Kitch is known as his real name's. What's his name? Is a different name? Nori Rautime, I think it's known as. That actually come from a video they did. He and his friends, Peter and George, did a video. Was it like "Would You Rather"? And that was actually included on there actually. So, and I thought that's interesting. And I nicked it actually. I just basically use that as an opening. It's like I thought that'd be interesting. I believe you don't get that side effect after this. Some people do actually. Some people. Usually the first one you tend to, but some people do get it from the second jab. I've heard from a few people I know who had it. They're sort of like, I felt fine after the first one, but after the second one, I felt like pure death. But that's just how it is, really. I don't know. Depends on the immune system, really. That sort of thing. And how the vaccination probably works in different ways. Mind you, I had AstraZeneca, so I don't really know. Yeah, I love Jeffrey Kitch. He's great. He's great. He is. Fantastic, brilliant stuff. I knew about him when he was doing his reviews in 2017 when I first started. Actually, he did stuff like other stuff. What did he do? Lauren Hardy, that Lauren Hardy film he did. He also did the Thomas and Magic Railroad. I think that's the first time I actually come across his work actually. And Postman had the movie, 507 actually that Taylor stage show and stuff. So he did a little trilogy of shows he did, which is interesting. I think some people have sort of talked to death really, especially the first two movies. But that stage show, Found and Sam, has never been unheard for, and someone talking about it and grilling it to death. That's interesting. That's pretty good. I'm not 100% how I come across him. Yeah, I think not much was due. I think it was stumbling his videos really. It's like it's all been recommended. Sidebar. But I think that's how it is. It's recommended that you come across him. You sort of get into his like mindset and his personality and stuff really. Back in the day with his bald hat and because I remember when he did sketches with his friend Peter. Was it Nigel Handbasket and Jeffrey Kitch? Who were from Hobogeddon, a college film. The 5 and Sam action review is hilarious. It is hilarious. Quite some good meme stuff. Normina and James is played by a woman. Oh no, what's happening again? He screams his flames and stuff. That is brilliant. That is. I should use that sometime in a video. Actually, use that clip. It's like someone screaming without fight stuff. Like it's like no. It's like someone just like done a mistake or something. That would have worked. It is he is quite hilarious. There's some funny he had some funny gags, of course, with his friend Peter, which they were doing, of course, when they did Nigel and Jeffrey. What they originally did. Afterwards, they sort of stopped that. They did. But you see Jeffrey still wears his bowler hat now and again and retains the mustache, of course. But it was interesting, I'm still subscribed to him anyway. He's still seeing what he's bringing out and everything else. It's also about the same time I saw Headphones UK as well. George Overington, I think his name is, through Jeffrey Kitch actually, because they did some collaboration video they did, and I came across him as well via Jeffrey Kitch. He's good. I'm subscribed to him as well. Just again, people like actually want to be filmmakers very much. Like want to be filmmakers. I mean, Headphones UK in particular has actually done pretty well because he did a short film that sort of has his own IMDb page, believe it or not. I think it does actually. I think so, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas Hobogeddon doesn't. I think Jeff Norrie, his real name is, tends to just shove it, underneath the carpet. Really, I mean, it's an amateur film. It's not like college kids really, but it's interesting. I talk about it via documentary. Probably won't release it, of course, or anything else, unless he does Patreon or something like that. Who knows? It would be interesting because I remember seeing bits and pieces of it. It's like it's very, I'm sure, very schlocky. About 2 hours long it is apparently. How they recorded, interestingly. It's like my mates, a couple of my mates actually did some few short films themselves actually. Many years ago, I found when we were about they did them about 13, 14, I think. Headphones UK, Headphones UK is great as well. I think it's intentionally scary childhood TV shows. Yeah. What did I find about him? That might have been it, or was it? Those videos were when those videos were a thing. Yeah, he did those too. Yeah, he does reviews now and again, like on terms of other shows, of course. Like he did the Robbie the Reindeer shorts. He did the Batman. He did Pingu as well. He did Basil Brush recently. Warship Down. The 3 different versions of it. Oh, and congratulations on 200 subscribers, which will be, and thank you, Ben. Cheers, mate. Again, unexpected, surprise, really. But here we go. So this is the 200 subscriber celebration stream. This is wasn't planned, but here we go. And I'm one of them. Cheers, mate. Of course you are. Absolutely. And the whole 199 as well. David and Film Bloke as well. So and the over 198 who don't know who they are actually. I'm not entirely sure. I know a few of them, a couple of my mates, 2 of them are. One is Baz Banter 3. One is Oscar Barnes, I know. One is Jack Howell, of all people, strangely. I found that I found about in like a little thing actually. Oh, really? Is he? There we go. Who else? Dylan Fagan is one. Jack Williams, of course, as well. Media 51, absolutely. Who else? I don't think he was saying much anymore. Retro Kids 2001 as well. I don't think he's around anymore. Around the same since actually. You know, nothing's been saw him actually, even on YouTube or around social at some point. Not too sure why, but who knows? We're gone. Shame actually. He's a great fella. Is that nice fella? Because. Who else? Classics are back. Him as well. Oh God, I just don't know actually. There's loads. There's a few just to mention really, like honorable mentions. We go. So yeah, quite a long list actually. I think most of us are just here for some random stuff. It depends what they're really after for really. Some people prefer the movie reviews, which I still need to do actually. I still need to do the next series actually. I've got it written down and planned and everything. I just need to film it actually. 6 episodes, just do 12 films over 6 episodes. Some people love when I do Path Nostalgia, which I think most of the audience really comes from there actually. The compilation videos, that's all give you the push that I did in a way. I just got bored and I think I did them because there was an imposter going around and people like Jack Williams and Medi 51 actually found out about it. So those are dedicated to them and all the people as well who've actually found out about that mysterious imposter who's masquerading as me. So thank you guys. Always thank you all of you for that one, of course. I think he's known as the original Carolyn now. Or was he or she's just gone? I don't know. But I did those, of course. Just a bit of fun, really. And also, they've done pretty well, actually. You know, again, interesting, like no one's done them before. Something that was brought back to my attention recently was The Lion and the Bear. Yeah, I actually watched the Steve Reviews video just last night about that, actually, the banned Teletubbies episode. I think I do remember that. I do remember that because it's the scene that so struck me was when the bear comes out the tree and waggles the tongue out. And that was the freakiest bit. And I think like, oh, I do remember that. I've seen that years ago. It's when like she imitates the lion and just wiggles the tongue out. And the sound and the tongue was like, you know, that was like, oh God. Now I do remember that. I think that was the freakiest bit about that bunch really. Other than that, it never really freaked me out. It never really did. Oh yeah, the Steve's Review video. Yes, it never freaked me out. I think that little bit there sort of did. Little moments tend to freak me out actually, and that little bit there, that was probably the freakiest to make it like that. You know, that sort of thing. I'm surprised, you know, because he goes along about the other stuff like the three battleships, the little teddy bear in the roundabout. One has never been mentioned, and George, Pevlin's UK mentioned this as well, is that puppet and that pink house. The Telego segment that scared the shit out of me was that, yes, that puppet. Yes, I'm surprised they never brought that up actually, because that is quite strange. Yeah, well, yeah, because I'm trying to think, is it Robin Stevens who does the voice? Even the Lion and the Bear was especially for children. They did alter it and make it less scary. They did actually. Steve pointed out it, the edited version, like, you know, soft narration, sound effects as well, like weird sound effects. They plonk like some weird squeaky noise or clang sound, or the sound of a clock or something, or like a grandfather clock or something. It's strange. I think they're trying to distract the kids actually to make it like some weirdness actually, make it a bit weird, make it more safer. Really, I noticed that because he showed the comparison between the original and the edited version. But I think the original's better. It's actually better because that one's just like it's like distracting. It's like distracting the child just to make it, I don't know, less freaky. And also they did some edits as well. And the music's more happy, a bit more bumbly, I would say. Still banned in many countries. Yeah, it still is really. I don't know if it's made on a video release. I'm not entirely sure. It was originally some VHS. I'm not entirely sure back in the 90s. Maybe it could be embedded in one of the early ones back in the 90s, in the early 90s, in the 97. releases. Who knows? The edited version annoys me. Mind you, I'm not 2 years old. Yeah, it's like with certain shows. Actually, they tend to rescore stuff they do. It's like, it's you love the original music. You prefer rather than tamper with the footage and everything else. I know how it feels. What do they do? I'm trying to think. Who knows? I don't know. I just don't know, really. I think something appears on my top of my head is when they did with Thomas and Friends, of course. They did Series 7, they rescored it. They did. And I think they rescored it, and the narrations turned different as well. It's more what you expect from the hit era. And I found out recently. It's like when they sort of released it, I don't know if it's in between, like when it was broadcast in the States, I don't know. But Angela's narration has changed, actually. He's gone more softer, of course, like how you expect him in 2004 to Weather. Gentler, more softer, not bombastic or anything else like he was, and full of energy, like he's high on sugar or something. And also they have the Robert Hartshorn music instead of Mike and Junior's music. It's strange, it is, I think if you sort of pull on a DVD, and I think it is somewhere on the DVD somewhere, I think. Wherever, I don't know, you'll have to correct me on this. I know they did actually, narration music sort of change. It doesn't really suits well, really. It never does. Series 6 and 7 episodes. Strange. I just don't know why. That just springed up, that did. Even though I grew up with I remember watching the original versions, but I just don't know, really. It could be just for release or something like that, again, international markets or something like that, I don't know. Or Hits Entertainment wanted to redo it. I'm not entirely sure. There could be many shows that have done that. There could be. Who knows? Another thing that springs to mind was that, when there's a couple of Doctor Who fans released those edited versions. I think you still can download them. I think I mentioned them on stream beforehand. They sort of edited them down as well, like to about half an hour, like a bite-sized version of a classic story. For example, something like Ghostlight or Visitation or Unearthed Child or something. Yeah, I started watching Tales of Friends long before the CGI. I did as well, actually. I stopped watching after Series 8. I did 2004. I finished from there, and I never looked back. I never looked back, which is a good thing, actually. As much as I like the original stuff, the voice of the Lion and Bear were done by Eric Sykes and Penelope Kiefer, respectively. Okay, that's interesting. I never heard Eric Sykes. Penelope Kiefer. They ring bells. Those names ring bells. I'm not entirely sure. If you create down some stuff down below that, if you want to, if they've done anything else, if you're familiar with that sort, with what they've been doing, that's absolutely fine. No, I started watching Thomas and Friends after Series 8 when it transitioned with Hitover, which is a good thing, actually, because I just stopped then, really. I just grew up at the time of the Star Wars, the James Bond franchise, sci-fi, cartoons, very much that sort of thing. You just moved on, you did. I would have been about, I don't know, 7, something like that. Which just seems appropriate now, actually. I think back in the day it seems appropriate. You can watch, there's always rules that I always look at, you always see video VHS covers and stuff. Eric Sykes was radio, stage, television writer, comedian, actor, and director, so he's done quite a lot of stuff, actually. That's pretty good. Any memorable stuff he's done? Any, again, television stuff, of course. He frequently wrote and performed comedy performers and writers of the period. Okay, that's interesting. Very multi-talented guy. Indeed, was it? Anything that sort of sticks out in terms of like television he's done, include, so he's worked with Tony Hancock, Milligan, Cooper, Johnny Spate, Tony Antrobus, and Peter Sellers. Oh, okay, so he's worked with them a lot. Oh, that's interesting. So it was like a writer on Hancock's Half Hour and what else? He became a TV star in his own right in the 60s. Worked with Hattie Jet. Oh, I see. Several. Okay. So he has a link in with the Carry On stuff as well, the Carry On actors. I think most of a lot of people do, actually. It's all mingling, now and again, really, I would say. Indeed. I do remember Carry On films, I do. I've still got quite a few VHS at the house somewhere. Some of them have been, some of them still have somewhere, actually. I used to watch Carry On films many years ago, back a long time ago. 90s, early 2000s. I still watch them nowadays. Put them on Christmas and everything. You probably put one on. I think like what was the last one I watched? Carry On Constable. That was it. That was good. That's the last Carry On film I remember watching. I do own some DVDs still for the newspaper to do. Carry On Camping's one, which is brilliant. That's the one I saw. That's the famous one. That is. It's really fantastic. Carry On Screaming, Carry On Jack, Carry On Cowboy, Carry On Cleo, I think is another one I've got. Not the colour ones, really, just some more black and white ones I've got, but there we go. Obviously, I do remember seeing Carry On Sergeant once, years ago, on ITV3, ITV4, I think. Obviously, as well as Voice on the Line, he also voices tagged up his intro. Oh, really? So, okay. Interesting. Never knew that, actually. That's interesting. I marathoned the Carry On films back in 2019. Really? That's good. Any favourites of yours, actually? I've only seen a couple, actually, in terms. I mean, Carry On Constable, I remember. Carry On Sergeant, I've seen. Carry On. What's it? Carry On Cleo, Screaming, and the best ones. What is the worst one? Do you think is in terms of your opinion? What's the worst one? You think? Because I think in the 70s they sort of dwindled a bit, didn't they? Because I still need to see some more, actually. I need to see the whole thing, most of them, really. Some of the 70s ones I really need to see, actually. I don't know if I've seen them years ago. I'm not entirely sure. Most of the black and white ones I've seen. The worst one is Carry On Emmanuel. Oh. Ah. Well, yeah, that's playing on the sort of the X-rated stuff, isn't it? Really, you know, sort of parody on the sort of, or like you see those films that like Emmanuel and whatever all over the mid-70s onwards. Yeah, actually, I'll put the list on actually. So good thing I got my phone here still. Oh, let's have a look. What am I doing there? Oh yeah. Let me just sort that out. So yeah, several awards, you know, through the years. Boost Television, and the BBC Television Personality Awards. Well, that's good for him. I wonder if he's still around. Hang on. I was going to the Carry On films in a minute. Let's have a look. So filmography. Here we go. So in the 70s, the mid 70s. So stuff like from Carry On Dick onwards. That's the thing. The Eric Walker Award. Comedy Heritage from 1998, so that's pretty good. So we're thinking Carry On Dick is when the series sort of took a nosedive, really, or was it Carry On Behind? Like Carry On Dick was like the last great one. The Confession of Cash in, but not crude enough to cash in because it was only AA and all the confession films were expert. Oh, that's right. Yes, the Confessions of a Private Eye, Confessions of a. I remember those. I do remember them. I do, because my parents enjoyed those films. Actually, Carry On films, of course, absolutely, and they do remember. That's the thing with my parents. They love sex. They were sort of in the thing with sex comedies. They were. AA is the pre 1982 15. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So I wasn't too sure what AA meant actually. Really, Carry On Girls. So Carry On Girls is when it sort of nosedived, it did. So like it was dwindling quality really, because mostly like I can remember, of course. So yeah, so Carry On Constable I remember, Carry On Cabby I remember, Carry On Spine was one I remember seeing. I do have a DVD somewhere. Carry On Doctor, I think Carry On Doctor I've seen. Let me think. It might have been actually. What was the one I saw? Bloody hell. What was that other one? You mentioned you have to be 14 over to watch them. Okay, so you could just be 14. So basically 14, you still basically like a preteen and still watch them. Get a kick out of it. So that's not too bad actually. You know, I always remember people when I was talking to people like store clerks and DVD shops or whatever, music stores or whatever, they always tell me about some interesting films. When I go buy a film, they said it's like, oh. I'd never seen that in cinemas. I did. Like someone was telling me they saw Robocop in 1987. They did, and I don't know if he actually sneaked in or not, I'm not entirely sure. There's a bloke called Tim, it was called. And I like Carry On Doctor. My parents have the Carry On films. I'm good on you. My parents do. I don't own any in this house really, but I do own a few DVDs from free newspapers still. So we own quite a few actually. A few videos as well. Not entirely sure what wasn't on there really. I think one might have been something to do. What was it to do with a Christmas thing, like a Christmas TV special or something? I think so. Or was it Carry On Laughing? I'm not entirely sure. It was DVD. I'm trying to think. It might have been a Christmas thing actually. It might have been actually. It would have been one of the Christmas specials I actually owned. Eric Sykes appeared in pre-sitcoms that they did. Sykes' Show and Sykes. Okay, all right. The Fast Show parody confession films is hilarious. Yeah. When I first heard about the confession films, it actually came from Top Gear Annual, and they did a parody of it, but they did was it James May, something like that. I'll find it actually. I don't know if it's on the internet. I'll show you. If it is James May Plummer or something, I'll try that. But it was in a Top Gear Annual I remember seeing years ago. Arthur Atkinson, Confessions of a Daughter of Cucumber Salesman. I haven't seen Fast Show in years. It's a long time. I haven't seen that for a long time. It's not on here. Nope, not on there. So how can we tell? That's when I first found about it. I do like Top Gear. It's good actually, I have to admit. It's all. I remember when it dipped. It did when series 23 came on. Chris Evans all that stuff. It sort of lost its charm really. I think Man LeBlanc sort of waved it. Sort of like it kept it maligned. It was maligned vanilla really at that point. 24 to 26. But since 27 actually, it's been sort of got that ramped in energy again. With McGuinness and Flintoff as well, which is actually pretty good. Actually, my dad was. I was watching my dad most time, and he's burst out laughing at it. He's in his 60s. He's still, and he's actually been enjoying it more recently with them to include with Chris Harrison. It's gave it a bit more. It's got more of its funny edge back onto it. But people always can say it wasn't better when Clark and Howard and May did it, of course. But what are you going to do, really? Obviously, the behind the scenes stuff, of course, But you can't change it. You can't reverse it and bring them back, really. But there we go. It was nice. I think it was M12 who did a series called Preset Legends about preset video labels. Really? So M12's what is that TV? Is that a TV series or is it a YouTube series, web series? Because that sounds interesting. Sounds interesting. Yeah. Speaking of which, actually, I forgot to mention this. What's Carry On Columbus like? Is it worth watching though? That's the thing. Because obviously, it doesn't feature most of the regulars, but it features maybe a couple of people appearing in a few films. But it's mainly filled with. I'm looking at it now, actually, some alternative comedians and stuff. And you've got Rick Mail, Peter Richardson, you've got Nigel Planer, you've also got Richard Wilson there as well, which is like M12 Productions is a YouTuber. Oh, okay, so that's a web series. That's good. I might check them out actually, see what they're like. I'm always interested to see what people always do with stuff like that. Because I remember there's a guy I remember he did he did a couple of videos like video openings. One guy from Sunderland who what's it called? Bollocks. I'll have to check on YouTube as well because I remember. What do you call it? I have to search for it because I remember he did a lot of stuff like that. It was a British video label, but I didn't. I do remember it. Indeed. It's pretty bad, but it's not the worst thing ever. Even Carry On standards, they are worse. There are worse. Indeed, Carry On Manual, I can see especially. I think it's how it is. I mean, it was from 1992 it was, so obviously, it seems weird now, actually. It sort of died in the 70s, back in the early, come off one time in the early 90s. I don't know why, but there could be a reason, but I'd rather not go into it. Who knows? I'm checking there. Who knows? What was I looking for? Oh yeah. Let me search his playlist. Come on, James, where are you at? Where are you at? Again, searching for the phone. Ah, here we go. So, what was I looking for? Ah, this is the thing. That's the thing. Now that might be that's a preset one, isn't it? Video Unlimited. Because remember, I sort of remember that really at the time. Well, many years ago actually, the guy called Sunderland was all put them on. Video Unlimited. Interesting. Has a very interesting little tune to it. It does. They reproduce one, 2 films a year between 958 and 978. Indeed, yeah, that's the thing. They always worked hard. I mean, it was low budget, wasn't it? So again, it depends on the schedule really with them lot. Again, came out to never heard of them. No one really ever heard. No one's ever really heard of this sort of stuff really. So I just found out it really. I wonder. There's one I tend to go on actually that sort of does that sort of. I wonder if it's on there. You call it video collector on that. It does go through all the labels and stuff, and I think it does. Let me find it. I wonder if it's on there. So video collector.com. It goes through all the labels and stuff. What stuff's been released and whatnot. Where are we at? So this little site here, like a little database really. So videotape labels, and it's all in alphabetical. You have to go through like which one you go through. Hello, what are the labels that have video nasties under the belt? Yeah, like a Vipco. Yeah, Vipco was one of them. Probably still have it on here somewhere. But I need to look for that Video Unlimited if it's on here. In terms of V's, Jesus Christ. What have we got? VEP, VA Video X, Vadimon, Value Video, Vampix, Vangil's Video, Vanguard, Variety, VCA Home Video, VCL, Velavision, Venus Video, Vestron of course, Video for Pleasure, VA Video. Vipco was one as well as a few others. Yeah, Vipco is. What was I looking for? Video. Christ. Everything with video on it, of course. So you got Video Acropolis, Video Action, Video Elson, Video Amansa, Video Arcadia, Video Eris, Video Art, Video Boom, Video Century, Video CAC, Video Sin, Video City, Video Classics, Video Club / Azone, Video Collection, Video Disco, Video Dynamic, Video Excellent, Video Express, Video for Nations, Video for Pleasure, Video Form Music, Video Form Pictures, Video Gems, Video Group, Video Import, Video Martial Arts, Video Memory, Video Mexport, Video Network, Video Nordest, Video Oro, Video Outlaw, Video Playback, Video Premiere, Video Rex, Video Success, I think it's in French. Video Treasures, Video Unlimited. Ah, there it is. Found you. What's next? Video Bollocks. Who knows? People could invent an indie label and stuff like that. Oh, who knows? There's tons. Video something. Video Kong. I don't know. Video Unlimited. I'm just looking to see what films they got. Cat and Canary. The Cat and the Canary. That was one that's also been spoke up. That has the original version, and also that 79. That weird 79 version that people tend to brag on about the 70s. Yeah. What was it? What's else on here? Maybe a familiar film. They just did some weird imports. They did. Kiss Daddy Goodbye. Okay. Naked Kiss. Preacher Man. Not too many films in here. The X from Outer Space. Sketches of a Strangler. Walk a Crooked Path. If I ever set up my own home media label, I would call my company Video Bollocks. You should do, mate. That'd be good. Who knows? You could probably do a second YouTube channel called Video Bollocks and make short films or something, or maybe people have like home actual independent movies or something they made but haven't been released. They've been laid dormant for about 30 odd years or something. Maybe plug them on there. You know, they'd be like some weird Spanish film or something, or some amateur college film or something. That'd be interesting actually. Keep that title, mate. I'm not gonna use that. So don't worry, you keep it. Video Bollocks. It could be used for a web series actually. Who knows? Your own little web series. Make your own little title, like some like some of the 70s, like the 70s or 80s, something like that. You know, 80s graphics and music, and it says Video Bollocks on it or something like that. Who knows? That'd be interesting. Last is the war. Not much on I was expecting. I thought I might grab out a bit more, but I do remember one called Cataclysm. Really, actually, what am I looking for? Oh, actually, yeah, I'm looking for it now. Come on. Oh. Why is it doing that? There we go. What was I looking? I was looking for the other one. I was interested to see what Virgin had released actually, because it's a nice little database on here. But it's basically we're basically just looking for video labels at this point, which is absolutely fine. I'm trying to think. There are some interesting ones I like actually. Some that have never been seen very much. Really. I wonder if there is. No, I was gonna check. You know, on my England trip for 2 weeks, I'll be going down to Blackpool, Liverpool, and Wakefield. Good on you, mate. Blackpool, it's all right. It's not too bad. If you enjoy a bit of shopping there, mate, you'll be absolutely fine. A bit rough around the edges, as I've seen. I've been to Liverpool once, about last year. That was good. First time going there. I just went to the Win actually. When I thought I was going to go to like Lancaster or something, I don't know. But I ended up keep going all the way through past Preston, Blackpool, wherever, in Liverpool we did. It was nice. It was a nice place. Friendly people as well. I really enjoyed it. So I thought, you know, I might as well go again at some point. I did actually, but I've been to other places, you know. Newcastle's probably the farthest recently. Did enjoy it. I really enjoyed it actually. You know, different. Went to a place called Gate. Hello, Crown there. It's all filled with restaurants and whatever. But upstairs they have like there's a video game lounge in there. Strangely, I'm going to look. Find the Beatles, of course. The Beatles statue, absolutely. Definitely, yeah. Probably the only thing, yeah. I just went around. I just had a look around. I did see. I went past Eric's. I did, which is again near the street with the Cavern Club. I went past there actually. You know, again, very interesting. Never went to it. I think it was closed. It was, but it was nice around there actually. I had a look actually because News Plus, yeah. I was trying to think, yeah, because saw the Cavern Club, of course, infamous because of the Beatles and everything else, but also saw Eric's as well, which people like Orchestral Moves in the Dark, Echo and the Bunnymen, Teardrop Explodes have played there. So it's quite, yeah, News Plus. You know, it's all right, mate. It's fine, mate. It's okay, mate. You know, there's always random stuff in the chat. You know, I could probably plunk something in there. It's absolutely fine. I am just looking through the Virgin label. I am. So I don't see what they've released actually. So I mean, they've actually released quite a few interesting things I've noticed on here. If I had to make an opening logo, I'll try and make it look like an old video open logo, something like the Arrow video open logo. Okay. I never really checked out Arrow video. I think I do own some Arrow video stuff. I do Blu-rays. Not on here. I don't have them in the other house. I do. But that'd be interesting actually. So something to that logo. Pretty good actually. I'm just looking through Virgin, of course. I've always been interested with Virgin stuff, what they've been releasing actually. Any vinyl purchases you've lately since last week? Not as much really. I've only got two. I think the one I picked up was something like the Mighty Lemon Drops, an album called Happy Head from 1986. That's about it really. The other thing I remember is getting that mini EP, mini album called Trail. It was called from 1994. That's about it really. I haven't really bought vinyl as much. I've been buying mystery boxes and Blu-rays and stuff really. A couple of DVDs now and again. I actually did buy a film in Newcastle, which is it's a musical which I've known for years. It's called Absolute Beginners. It's from 1986. It's directed by Julian Temple, who's he's a music video director who has also worked with me as well. Virgin always put on what's this? Always put the labels on for some reason, like put on tape this way. Really? I think it's just like it depends what people do. It's like I think maybe it depends what people can really understand the video player. I don't know. Someone's recently bought the VHS format and decides to like I think they might be confused. Like, how do you insert this? Really, it's like do we put it where the spools are, or do we put it in face? Do we put it sideways? Where does it fit through there? Again, it's just to make it might even things a bit easier. Only for children, I don't know. It could be for just like for kids who handle the VHS players. I mean, I was when I was young. I was very young to insert stuff, video cassettes in the VHS player, of course, and I did the right way. Always have done. I was never stupid enough to insert it in sideways or the other way around, back, underneath, or whatever. I learned that on for a very early age, as a very young age. You can just, right. So I haven't got an example of VHS on here, really. So I'll give you an example. So if I use the phone, right. So that's the top bit, very much like you insert it in rather than go sideways or whatever. Even though 90% of VHS cassettes usually say put tape this way on the flap. Yeah, I think back in the early days in the 80s, they probably still do that. Again, like it was a new thing. It's like unless there might be confused with cassettes, I'm not entirely sure. With audio cassettes, who knows, that sort of thing. So I'm looking through what version of So 1984 they've released. The Abominable Doctor Fives they've done. I'm not entirely sure what version that might be a remake. I don't know. No, it's the Vincent Price version they released. Adventures of Tintin, The Destination Moon and Explorers. Audience with Billy Colony. More Billy Colony. Got Colony, excuse me. Colony Space, I don't know. Black Beauty, very early one. Something called Brainwash. Yeah, I learned how to pull a VHS in the right way. I think we all did. We understand the format. That's the best one we understand. They released a lot of Orion stuff for like Terminator Robocop. They did. I had the original Terminator VHS Virgin release of that. I did only the cassette. I didn't the tape because when I first got it, I got a few of the tapes I did many years when I was at the age of 9. I think I got for a carbide sale on Sunday morning with my dad. We were for like, oh, there's these other films, of course. I was like, come and get them. But the seller, the person who had the stall, said, this could contain the tapes because the cases are knackered. They were. What happened was there was Tipex all over the casings, apparently, it's all stuck together. So you couldn't really do well with them. Like they were complete. Some of them were completely covered in blank white. They were just damaged. They were really on the outside. The tapes were absolutely fine. They were. So it was that one, the first one, 84, Terminator 2, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, because we ended up with a bundle with it for some strange reason. It's like, I think he paid cheap. I think my dad paid cheap for it, something like that. Or you just pay for the tapes and keep these films or whatever. So Terminator 1 and 2 we had. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Predator 2 was the other one. Wanted Dead or Alive, that Rutger Hauer film. Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood. I think think that's all I can remember, actually. Those are the films I can remember getting, really. So, then 6. I think there was a 7th one. I'm not entirely sure what happened to that one. I don't know. Unless we didn't, actually. I don't know. But I remember those 6 that did. Those 6 films we had. What else did I do? Again, we'll return to Virgin. Class of Nukem High. That's interesting. David Bowie, Ricochet. That's a documentary. Culture Club, Depeche Mode. Some great videos. It's literally Depeche Mode. Some great videos, as they say. That's interesting. More way for a title. It is. I think. When's that released? Actually, I think 85. Okay, I do I've got the compilation that I do. So it's like the companion video for that. Okay. Dirty One Scoundrels. Some called Dog Care. There's a couple of dog care, like How to Care for Your Dog here. I remember that was an interesting thing. Dr. Five Rises Again. What was it there? Elvis Presley, Electric Dreams. Oh yeah, because Elvis, Aloha from Hawaii. Elvis Presley's 1968 comeback special. 2 versions of that. Blimey. The Essential Mike Oldfield. In the Executioner's song. Okay. The Extraordinary Adventures of Mr. Ben. That's all right. Falcon and the Snowman. That's interesting. I don't know about that song because they did Bowie did a song with the Pat Metheny group, which is missing in America. Around 9% of VHS would insert the side recorder, arrow pointing up. Don't touch the tape inside. Yes. I used to do that I used to do that sometimes. Just let the little flap up and just prod the tape, the actual tape itself. I thought it was interesting. Never damaged anything, Always still worked. I was thought, oh, that's interesting. I can just flip off the top and look at the tape. Check it out. Always be clean, not dusty or anything, so that's absolutely fine. But I did that quite a few times. I did. Far East Fear, Fight for Life. Something called Flesh and Blood. So that's Paul Verhoeven's film. When was it released? Doesn't really say though. I can see it here. I think this was released at a time when RoboCop came out. I think, like rediscovering his back catalogue. Really, so that's one of his early films. That was one of his early films. That was. Some of the films had different variants. Yeah, they did actually. Yeah, still not. Yeah, I think we all did really. Variants, or even like different coloured casings and different flaps. Because on some early releases you have like beige and greyish flaps you do, and also just completely different coloured casings. I never had coloured casings actually. Never did. Did I? No, I never did. So I'm one of the unfortunate ones that never had that sort of pleasure of looking at a nice light blue casing or something that was like yellow or pink or something. Never had those, unfortunately. Freddy's Nightmares. That's another one here. Genesis, the Mama Tour. Again, Virgin. Paul stops on. What else is on here? So that was another thing. Handmaid's Tale. That's another one. Great. I remember this film. Bloody hell. Christ. Yeah, I found a lot of tapes from the 80s had unique sets. 90s tapes onwards look the same in blood. Yeah, they do actually. I think in the late 80s they sort of did that really. I think that's all became the niche now, really, just like standard black tapes and whatnot. Indeed. That's a film I remember back in the day. Christ. I remember my mum getting that from NBC back in the day. 2000s that was. And the only things she would watch over and over again was stuff to do with Sid Vicious singing. So like Something Else, Come On Everybody, and his performance when he did My Way. And that's the only time I actually viewed the film. I never saw the film whole. I think when I just decided to watch it for the first time, watch it whole, see what it was really about. I did a review actually, and it actually became a successful review. It did anyway. It's a weird film, that is. I always found Grey Rock and Swindle a very strange, bizarre film because it's Malcolm McLaren's own stuff. Really, I do a Filth and the Fury as well, which is better actually because it's the Pistols, silhouetted, but talk about the sort of begins the band, the downfall, Can be quite emotional as well. But it's a really good. It's a really good film. That is. Swindle. If you like to have a good drink, so you might get some fun out of it, really. But and enjoy some songs. Depends who if you listen to. Either Ronnie Briggs, singing a couple songs with Steve Jones and Paul Cook, and a German lieutenant going around on a boat in Rio de Janeiro. That is something to be designed for. Sid Vicious in Paris, singing Frank Sinatra. Steve Jones is a private detective, and he sings some songs about being lonely, and he meets a woman in like some neon tubing thing in lingerie. It's bloody bizarre. It is. It's a weird film. It is. Some sweet sketch animation, orchestral versions of punk songs. Just seek out for yourself if you can find it. High Season, Heaven 17. How to Play Squash. The Carn Way. How to Play Squash the Carn Way. All right. God, there's some weird blood wasn't here. Lauren Hardy. LBJ, the early years. Okay. Lonesome Cowboys. God. Neighbours. The Scott and Charlene love story. Jesus Christ. Didn't even let to do that. Mississippi Burning. Alan Parker film. I still need to see that. I need to get DVD on that at some point. Malcolm McLaren, Duck Rock. Yeah. Marilyn Monroe. Beyond the Legend. The Muppets Moments. Motorhead, Deaf Not Blind. My Beautiful Laundrette, an early film with Daniel Day-Lewis. Let's see if I find that out, if I remember. What else is on here? Paddington Bear. More Quentin School. Rustin Movies and Birthday Bonanza. Parker. What else is on here? It's really... The Ploughman's Lunch. Of all titles, they call. Hang on. That's not. Let me have a look. The most important film made in Britain and about Britain this last decade, and they call it The Ploughman's Lunch. Who's in it? I want to know. Jonathan Pryce, Tim Curry, William Maxwell. Okay. Goldcrest Films. Goldcrest. Okay. Yeah. What else is on here? Robocop and Robocop 2. Scanners. Yes, I remember Scanners back in the day. God's truth. I've only seen the first one, so that's a good thing. I never really care for the sequels. Rupert and the Frog Song. That's another one I've seen for bloody years, my God. Spice Girls. The Spice Girls Girl Power Live in Istanbul. Oh my God. Synopsis: the girls talk. You've got a video diary. You've got if you can't dance, step on me to become one. Mirror, wannabe. Oh God. Behind the scenes and live footage of the show in Istanbul in 1997. The performances include Wannabe Say You'll Be There to Become One and others. My God. The space movie. I don't know what Virgin are really thinking actually. What they've been releasing. I mean, middle labels do release some weird stuff. They do. Indeed. Ooh. What's that one? Stepfather. I understand. Someone was telling me about that film. There's a film. What's the other film I remember as well? Backfire. Yeah. That's interesting. So that was the. Hang on. I wonder if I can. No, I can't do that. Oh. So that was the original version of Terminator I had actually. That's the original. That's the Virgin one I had. I did at that time. Only the tape, not the casing or anything else. It had I remember it actually because they had the trailer for RoboCop as well, and they used music from Terminator in that trailer. Which I look back on it, it's a great trailer, fantastic trailer, very eerie, and the music helps it does. It really builds up. Really, I really do think it's Again, really good actually. I'm going now. I'll see you next week. Okay, Ben. Wish you all the best, mate. And we'll see you next week. It's on Wednesday. Just remember, mate. I'll probably put it down anyway. So yeah. So Wednesday is the next live stream. Just to let people know. Just a little reminder. As always, I remind them when the stream finishes, as well. So yeah, I do remember that actually. Yeah, I remember that back a long time ago. Yeah, I do still love that trailer. I still love the trailer actually. I mean, that's the trailer I really prefer RoboCop. Really, you know, that early teaser trailer that come out, just good. I think the music it sort of helps. It does. It gives you a bit more of an angry feel. Yeah, the RoboCop film as a film is fantastic. One of your favorite films of all time. Absolutely amazing. One of my favorite films as well. It's a really good film. It's fantastic. Just out of curiosity, really, I'm interested to know actually, what are your, if you had to pick 13 movies, what are your favourite 13 movies to do in film blog? I really want to know. Obviously, I've showcased what I've done, or truncating really, but I'm interested to see what your favourite films are. Like, so 13 best films. If we do something like a movie drum on BBC Two or something, and you showcase your favourite films, what would you broadcast on BBC Two and host really? The wearing a mask or something. I don't know. I mean, ominous, wearing a paper bag or something. I'll be Buckethead or something. I don't know. You know, be ominous or be in a like silhouette or something. You know, what would your films be? I'm interested to know. You know, what do you prefer? I can probably do mine later, but I'm just seeing what yours are first, really, because I'll probably have to do some of mine out actually as well. Where are they at? There we go. Um, oh, blimey! Let's have a look. So, A Clockwork Orange, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Back to the Future, Jaws, RoboCop, The Shining, the original Star Wars trilogy, Pulp Fiction, The Blues Brothers, and Mystics in Valley. That's interesting. I'll tell you what, I'm just trying to think. Actually, I'm thinking of two more actually on the top of my head. Just bear with me for a second while I'm. What else? Clerks and Die Hard as well. Oh, those have got some picks, mate. Those picks are really fantastic. They're really good, mate. Ah, so I'm just looking through what I've put. So I'm just going to make a list together anyway. So I might put them like just out of order as well. I'll put them in the chat actually as well. Rather than save them, I'm just really trying to have a look. get them sorted out. I'll just write them down so I can memorize them. What else? I have a letterbox account and I was referencing it a while I was writing the list. Absolutely. I'm just using my video. I am like my top 10 truncated video from series 10 that I'm using actually. Trying to memorize what I did put down on here. Because it's been a while. Ooh. In terms of films, I could probably say. Oh, bloody hell! That bloody bird. Bloody birds. Hang on. Bloody birds. Not dead, that's a good thing. Christ. Christ almighty, that bloody... Oh, there was a little sparrow or something so right into the bloody window. Scared the living shit out of me. Christ. Not dead, that's a good thing, isn't it? Christ. Whew, blimey. Had a bit of experience with a pigeon once, actually, and got chased out by a magpie over a hedge and smacked its whole body against the window and left its imprint, but it broke its neck. It literally just went like face past the window. My God. Shock of life. Jesus Christ. That bird didn't get his neck broken, or it's still around. It's just been wandering around, it's flew off again. So that's fine. Christ almighty, that scared the living shit out of me, that did. Right. So I'll have a look. So I've got 13 already on here, so I can probably put them in chat for you. Anyway. So I'll type these in now, actually. I'll do them individually as well. So I'm going fast. I wonder if I can. Right, so that's one, anyway. Rather than say that, I can just I'm just doing these out of order anyway. I can't really just, do like a list, like in terms of like how it is really, but we'll see. I think that's the last one being. I think that's about it. Yeah. So these are my favourite films of all time. Good portion of them. So 13 really. So yeah. Last American Version, Shawshank Redemption, The Wild Things, Trainspotting, Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, Casino Royale, The 51st State. Do you put my own? Controversial opinion about Shawshank Redemption. Fair enough, mate. If you don't, it's absolutely fine, really. I just enjoy it because it's not because of more good old Morgan Freeman's. I think I do like an interesting prison film. I do sometimes, really. It's like I do like the idea of a man just trying to get his way out of a prison, like trying to escape. Really, it's that determination, everything else. I do enjoy that. I do. That's what I like about that, really. There could be many other films I sort of enjoy, like what's that film? From Hell, which was a Jean-Claude Van Damme film, which I remember seeing years ago. Oh, that's pretty good. And what was the other one? Scum, Alan Clark film. Really good choices. Cheers, mate. Some of them are very sort of are different from what I might expect, really. Is there any films you're sort of unsure about in terms of these films? Are you quite familiar with some of these? There's some obvious ones, but there are some that maybe you're maybe not too sure about. Really, because I can give you some little bit of context with some of these, if you want to. The version of Casino Royale is the 2006 version, not the 1967 version, just to let you know. Daniel Craig's first film. Excellent. Who knows? I've actually do the Bond. I do have the Bond box set just here. Actually, it's facing me at the moment. All 24 films. I do. So yeah. One of them's actually still here. Actually, I've noticed. Last American version. I still have it here. Actually, it's that German version I've got here. That German portal. Oh, this thing. I've heard of all these films, but I've only seen 6 of them. Like, really. In terms of which ones have you seen? RoboCop, obviously. Shawshank Redemption, obviously. Casino Royale, obviously. Trainspotting, maybe. I think it's like maybe something like maybe The Commitments, maybe this film in particular as well. I can give you a little bit of context for this film, so I think I've talked about this beforehand. I think it's actually a remake. It's actually an American version of an Israeli film from the late 70s called Lemon Popsicle, or Eskimo Lemon, it's known as, which was a film series. Well, film. It's actually one of my mother's favourite films of all time. It is, along with stuff like maybe like Dirty Dancing or whatever. I'm trying to think what film she enjoyed. I think what's the other film she liked? Southern Comfort. That's one. But she was a fan. She saw this film many years ago, back in the 70s, or whatever, like a double bill of it, and really enjoyed it. She always told me about this film. I always say it's one of those. If you're into something like a comedy or anything else, like a sex comedy, Lemon Popsicle was the right choice to go on from. And I did buy the box set years ago as for a Christmas present. 4-film box set. I'm currently writing a screenplay, which I finished the first draft, about an escaping convict. Well, it's the opposite of Shawshank Redemption, because the prisoner is out for revenge against his lawyer. Okay, so that's like an alternative version of that. Oh, that's interesting. Very good. And what happens at the end, though, is that the thing? It's like, does he end up being killed or something like that? I'd rather not spoil your first draft or something, but does he end a horrible demise? Does the lawyer end up getting away, sort of like not killed or something? Oh, and though out of the film, through the film, he becomes more corrupt. So the lawyer becomes more corrupt. So like everything's fallen out from the seams in terms of his career and everything else. Interesting. It kind of reminds me like that film Falling Down, which I again saw recently as well. Again, keep broadcasting TV sometimes, now and again. Great film. Yeah, I thought it'd be something like that, really. Like again, like you sort of look at this fella, like what Michael Douglas' character as DT or something is known as. I think, or Defense. Yeah, he goes by the name Defense apparently. In a way, or he's credited for, and Obviously, we don't know what his game is really, but he just goes around like he skates car hops, you know, that sort of thing. Shawshank Redemption train. So you've seen the ones, okay? He's seen Shawshank Redemption, Trainspotting, Casino The Crow, RoboCop, and The Wanderers. Right. I might give you some context for some more of the films actually, just to let you know, because they're actually good films. They are. So, Commitments. First one. That's my favourite film of all time. Absolute favourite. It's from 1991. It's directed by a guy called Alan Parker, based on a book by a guy called Roddy Doyle. That was from 1987. It's to do with like a trilogy set in a place called Barrytown. It is to do with teenage girls, like the Rabbit family or something. Because the first one focuses on the son, Jimmy Rabbit Jr. The second one is called Snapper, and that focuses on one of the daughters, who ends up getting pregnant. Like it's like a comedy drama type thing, really, that one. And the other one's being The Van. That focuses on the dad, Jimmy Rabbit Senior. But there's another one called The Guts, which is the fourth, which is actually it's actually called Drill now, because I realised I forgot about that one. About Jimmy Rabbit as well. He returns back and he has he's living with bowel cancer, really. Indeed, the prisoner becomes corrupt. If there's any way I can send you a script, it probably sucks. I don't know. I'd probably be interested. I'm interested in people's writing. You know, who knows? I've actually written bits of the script, actually, or bits and pieces of stuff. I have two things. There's a reason why, actually. I ran the Doctor Who script actually before. Two of them. Actually, no, one. An actual script, piece of a script was seen that I did. I don't know if I can show you on here. I don't know. I don't know if I can really show it on here. I'm not too sure how you work this sort of thing. But I did actually. There's some bits of a script I written for a fan audio series that was done by Billy Garrett John, believe it or not, for Faris Features, and he sent out this thing for I never mentioned something on YouTube or whatever or anything. I kept it myself really, but I did start work. I did little scene bits of like, we need something like a spec script or a scene to write down, and I had a few interesting ideas, of course, like oh god. I would say about 60 ideas for Doctor Who stories. I do like writing fan fiction, really, in a way. And I have written about 60 Doctor Who stories, along with hundreds of well, I've actually written 160, really, to be honest. In a way, all different 160 ideas for stories I have. And that's basically the same level as sort of like as a classic series, but I actually written some different ideas, bits and pieces, of course. And obviously, with most of them is used on The Last Adventures, which is like writer's tale stuff I've been using on YouTube, really. So that's my sort of ideas what I've been using. So that Doctor Who stuff has been included on there. It's an interesting way of doing it, actually, and I always find it brilliant. But there's 60 other stories that I've actually have been used. I've been like dormant for a bit, but I decided to use one, and I thought it'd be interesting. Make it different, make it grounded, and make it just interesting. What was it? My script is probably more like The Room meets Empress Teresa meets Sconicho. Only the author is more self-aware. Yeah, a bit more self-aware, more meta. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I think for your first draft, it'd be all right, actually. Let me see. I'll just be back in a sec, actually. I wonder if you can still hear me in a way. That's still recording, so I can definitely have a look. I have it here, actually, so I don't know if I can still send it or not. I don't know if I can, actually. I'm going to look. So I'll go back to there. There. Nope. Oh, I can't do it. Strange. Off screen. I don't really know. I really don't know, actually. Oh god, wait a minute. Yeah, if you have an email address, I will send you a copy. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'll plug it in now. If you want to do it later, that's absolutely fine, mate. If I can. Great. Let's plonk email just here. Just in case, if you want to, that's absolutely fine, but I'll send it to you anyway. I hope no one actually starts emailing like mad or something, but there we are. There's my email. If you only send stuff or anything else, mate, that's absolutely fine. I could probably send you something else of like a little weird stock 2 spec script I've written actually. Well, I can give you some details about it actually, because again, it was written for that Faris features. Well, if you don't want to share it publicly, you don't have to. I think it'll be all right. I think no one's going to bother watching this stream anyway. It's just you and me, so it'll be all right. I think it'll be all right actually. No one's going to really like revisit or look at something else, but it's only my email really. No problem, mate. What was I going to say? So yeah, I could probably send that maybe a little spec script or something to you if it ever works, or ideas actually, because I read some bizarre stuff in terms of Doctor Who stories, but it's, well, 100 of them have gone to The Last Adventurers, which is this weird spin-off that I've been working on really. More grounded, more adult Doctor Who. I will send you mine when I send you the script. Okay, that's fine, mate. No problem. Just take your time, really. I'm no rush or anything, so that's okay. You know? I'll probably send you some stuff as well, actually, over email as well, see what you think. It'd probably be some idea stuff, but also a little script as well. That I saw it's been late dormant for a bit, but I can tell you what it is. It's a Doctor Who story called The Milk of Paradise, and it's set in Los Angeles in 1979, downtown Los Angeles. How it goes is, the Doctor this is what it originally was. It was basically, I ran it for intention with the Fourth Doctor, actually, with Tom Baker. It was slotted between the Delhi Assassin and the Face of Evil. So it's in season 14, it is. And the Doctor picks up some weird signals and television stuff involving stuff to do with well, actually, no, it wasn't really. Originally it was, but it's being refined as a signal. It is. I forgot about that. So he gets this little signal, and he ends up in Los Angeles in the late 70s, during just like a bit of sort of a bad neighborhood area, bit really. And while he's on the TARDIS, he sees someone having a seizure, and he's foaming from the mouth and stuff, of course. And he tries to help save this fella, but he dies in his arms. And he keeps mourning this. And in doing so, he keeps fitting, but this word keeps coming out of the guy's seizure, like it says tempest or something. And basically, he ends up dying, gets taken away. But apparently, it's been going around recently. Like some deaths like that have been going on recently, and he wants to interested to look into it really for some strange reason. In doing so, he ends up getting this tenant ad, and ends up being the roommate for these two women called Sheena and Marcy, who sort of welcome in really, but they're sort of what do you call it? Sort of like bemused by his behaviour. It was eccentricity because it's Tom Baker, of course. So he ends up staying in this apartment. He does with these two women, and bits of that scene I've actually written in the script really. So it's basically when he enters the apartment and gets greeted to these two. I think how originally it was to do with like a bland, just like to the Doctor, but he had no really personality really because it was written for an audio drama. Awesome. And sent. Cheers, man. It'll probably come up here now anyway, but I'll see. I will check it out actually in a bit. I will send you something else as well as that Milk of Paradise script. I'll send you as well actually. It was not the best, but it's a rough and ready thing because I never done script writing before. I've always written stories in like a prose form in a way. I sort of do it, still do in a way, but in different ways now actually. But I will discuss what the next one would have been actually, because I'll get into that prose writing in a bit actually. But going back to the Milk of Paradise, he ends up staying with his women. They talk of a dinner to do. Sheena makes some meatloaf. She does, and Marcy always complains that it's cold. You can never cook properly or whatever, that sort of stuff. There's a bit of some cursing as well. I do include some cursing in that story, and he just talks about stuff really. There are some interesting bits and pieces with how they're written. The Doctor obviously was written for a Doctor who maybe it could be Bellick Garrett John or someone totally different. I'm not entirely sure, but how that scripting process went out. But I really said he had a bit of sympathy, of course. Like it's like there's a scene in the kitchen when Sheena shows the kitchen. She sees this cockroach and like slams it with a frying pan, like kills it instantly. And he said, and the Doctor sort of mentioned about life he does. It's like actually that's a bit uncalled for, really. And he said, it's a bloody insect, it's bloody fucking vermin, it is, that sort of thing. She and very gun ho type woman in a way. Like it's fucking vermin, man, mate. That sort of stuff. It's like it's like everything else. They always get killed, of course. Flies, all sort of stuff. Everything goes to the end. And he mentions like it's like moving one grain of sand and the earth changes or something. In sort of poetic way. That sort of thing. Also, there's some nice little funny bits of keep with he's got this leather bag, like a leather doctor's bag, of course, he has, and he gets into his room, she closes the door, and he gets to work, of course, and ends up bringing stuff out. Stuff like sonic screwdriver, notepad and stuff like that, a yo-yo, and I think maybe a yo-yo, but also a funny little reference I found in the book, which was an Alpha Centauri table tennis club card or something. Which is a nice little reference there, I do think. And he ends up looking at the window, he does, and looks at people like in the night in prostitutes and stuff like that, and he realizes, how grimy and how dangerous and sort of sordid how Earth is sometimes, in terms of, especially in the States, really. And he looks at that, he does. So that's one thing. There was also the thing that the Doctor sort of like he sort of sneakily writes down. It's like it's like, oh, thank you very much. Like they mention about Tempest, they do, and it's like Sheena mentions that her ex-boyfriend sort of does the drug dealing stuff. Of course, he never takes drugs, but he does it just to sell stuff really, and uses one of the means really in a way. Just make a bit of cash. He used to be an actor actually, but the dealing side sort of took over. So when obviously they fell out and she sort of separated, she moved in with Marcy and whatever, and lived sort of like a bit of a stubborn life, really. And they sort of become his companions, really, in that way. Because I'm originally for Tom Baker in a way. So these would have been like two surrogate companions, really, set in two American companions. You could probably slide into like the comics magazine in the late 70s, with the likes of stories written by Pat Mills and John Magner. Who did Judge Dredd, all that sort of stuff. Interestingly, would have been interesting. So that's how far I got the script, really. Just that little scene. I did send it off, actually, and still no reply. No one's replied back since. So it's still in the emails. It's remained dormant since then. But I can show you it anyway. It's my first time writing the script anyway, but I've managed to see if I can shuffle on with it in a way. But that's my Doctor Who script. I can still send it. I can send it to you at some point anyway, along with a list of ideas and stuff. 60 different ideas. There's some interesting stories. Some stuff I've written quite a few years ago. Some old stories, and some new ones I just thought might be interesting to do. Really, but I'll get around to it. Because I started writing Doctor Who Foundation about 2012. I did. That was a time when I was sort of disinterested of how Doctor Who was going. That was around Series 7, Part 1, wasn't it? So Matt Smith's era. I felt a bit disenchanted with that, so I've started to write my own stuff. I read quite a few stuff with classic Doctors, really, in a way. What can I think? I'm trying to think of the ones I did. I did 2 Hartnells, 1 Troughton, 1 Pertwee, 1 Davison, 1 McCoy. I never sent any of mine off yet. Maybe if I get people together, I could shoot them myself. Okay. Indeed, so like get a small crew together, like get a few people together, like people like cameraman, an editor, that sort of stuff, composer, just like that sort of thing. A couple of actors and stuff. That should be interesting, really. Just assemble a few people together, maybe and see people what they think. Really think, will this be workable? It seems ideal. It does seem ideal, actually. It depends. with people. Actually, it depends where you're going to film it. Are these people from different parts of the country though? That's the thing, and all the roles are, you know, you can maybe do like a small crew. People can do multiple things really. You know, you could be the main head producer and everything else. Just be the writer, be the director, how you really want it. Some people can probably just do the editing. Very much do, you know, bits and pieces, more composed music as well, and just get a couple of actors really. You know, whoever want to be actors, probably end up paying them 100 quid or something, or less than that, maybe £50 or something to pay it. Who knows? That's my reasoning. That's my reasoning really. Because I always thought, you know, I've found I don't tend to write fan fictions because it's hard to keep up characterizations constant. I tend to write for original characters. I do both really, in a way. You know, in terms of it's hard to, yeah, especially with Doctor Who, of course. Like, you know, it's hard to again keep up characterization and everything else. It's hard, you know, you try and match up with how you tend to write for a specific incarnation of the Doctor and everything else. I've noticed that with novels I've read, in terms like that, you know, it's like with some writers tend to struggle with how they're to be characterized. You know, people like, I'm trying to think who else. I'm trying to think who. Terrance Dicks, for instance, didn't get the grips on Sylvester McCoy because when he did the Virgin stuff, he did stuff like Time of Exodus, Blood Harvest, and Shakedown. He did 3 Sylvester McCoy novels. When he first started out, he didn't get a grasp on it really, and he incorporated bits and pieces of other Doctors to really malform to give him a bit of a wholesome Doctor, sort of like a Doctor of all choices or variations in a way. You know, it's unlike some people like a guy called John Peel who written the remaining novelizations for Daleks for Terry Nation stories. Anyway, had a good relationship with Terry Nation. He hated McCoy, and he written him as a very, what do you call him? Like a very disinterested bastard in a way. How he written McCoy's Doctor. That's in the very first novel, Time of Genesis, and you have a very bastard. I mean, it's sort of abuses Ace really in a way, and there's that horrible line that you know, it's like with Gilgamesh, that what was it? What was it? You know, like he's with women, he grew up in women and stuff. You know, I happens to women all the time. You'd probably be the next one. That's what the Doctor says to Ace in that book, God's Truth. You know, and people read that in 1991. It's like, bloody what? You know, about 30 odd years ago. Actually, 30 odd years ago, because it came out this month. 30 odd years ago, about same time this month actually. So, but a bit dodgy stuff, really. But there we go. You know, so people don't really, you know, obviously people want to carry on the flame for the Doctor really in terms of the franchise. But where do you characterize that Doctor, that incumbent Doctor? It's like with McGann as well, because you've only got the TV movie to work on. How do you make him an interesting Doctor in a way? You know, you could probably make him as an optimist, brave-hearted, lovable adventurer. You know, you can turn him, or you can maybe just turn him to like some negative bastard or something like that. You know, who doesn't really give a shit about stuff. Who knows? But people flung in different ways they do. I think the main is, you know, give him these sort of like an optimist, like he's a lover of the world, he embraces everything. So I think that's how it works in a way. How I think of the Eighth Doctor, I think of him as more of a adventurer, like he's a flamboyant adventurer, really, in a way. Just enjoys life very much, you know, and just in like this glee to him. You know, it looks like we're in the Middle Ages. You know, it's like some eccentric tour guide. You know, Middle Ages, we're on this planet that has a nice pink sea. The smell of wonderful trees and whatever, you know, the plant life, irresistible, you know. Or we're in London, 1965, you know, this sort of thing. Look, you know, at this time, you don't listen to the radio, listen to that music, sweet music, that sort of thing. You know, you sort of get those little crisp stuff like that. Maybe some is Liverpool slang as well, because just remember, Did he ever use his Liverpool in slang in a TV movie? I'm not too sure. He might have done, actually, like his Liverpool tweet, like his, we have like a flamboyant doctor, long flowing hair, like Oscar Wilde has, with a Scouse accent. Yes. No, that's, you know, they could probably incorporate some of that stuff in, Yeah. Who knows? But I think that's how you characterize with Paul McGann's Doctor, I think. Who knows? You'd probably characterize Peter Capaldi with how he looks in Series 8, being all guppy and stuff. Yeah. If I ever wrote Faction, I'd probably make it tongue in cheek. I think that'd be an interesting thing to go on from. Make it funny. With mine, it tends to be sort of a bit bleak and darker, involves a bit of death in a way, which goes on from the next one I mentioned. Also, I mentioned like the Paradise that deals with drug stuff, really, like a new drug, alien drug, very much. Like it's very much like you think of. It's been like The Lodger in a way, mixed with Damaged Goods. That sort of thing. It's like them two mixed together. It's not the best. It's always weird comparison. It's very much like that in a way. Gareth Roberts' Lodger and Russell T Davies' Damaged Goods. Mix them together. That's what you get with that story. Whereas with this story called Project Barrier, that is more. I've always based it on Alien 3 for some strange reason. It's Alien 3 but with Daleks instead of a Xenomorph. It's very much that type of thing. Because I saw Rin as like a new version, really, as a prose thing, as a new Doctor. I think you think of the version of the Doctor as like, if you think of like your original Doctor, I don't know how you describe think of it really. You just think of yourself, don't you? I saw this picture, like how do I do it anyway? It's like just basically yourself or something, And what you get on this one is the TARDIS crash lands, of course, and lands on the planet Venus, which is situated. There's a base, like a traveller's base, where it's all travellers, like people do. It's like a youth hostel in space type thing. And they basically stay there for a week or something. And they bugger off to other planets and do other galaxies. They do. So Dr. Crash lands. He ends up regenerating their body bag, literally in the body bag. You don't see. It's like TV movie in the morgue and stuff, but you don't see it. You see like weird energy and shaking about in the body bag. You don't see him fully regenerate. And he plops down the floor and releases his. You saw reveal his like a new face, and he meets a companion, a nurse, who he freaks out because she sees the body bag move and he unzips it and he pops out and all the steam comes out and everything else, and she's mortified that this man has entered the body bag. And it's like, who are you? Where's the fella? Why are you wearing his clothes and everything else? It's that sort of thing. And they go from there. He sees his dead companion, obviously, who's in the body bag as well. She ended up being mangled and ended up in the TARDIS swimming pool. So she's mangled and smells of chlorine. And there we go. Obviously, I mentioned the Daleks. There's only 4 Daleks in this one, really. And they're basically, how they're introduced. There's a shuttle lands down, and this guy called Farley, who's the head of like a security fella, and he leads a group of guards, and they go for this air tunnel thing, like you see in airports and stuff, like it's linked to the base and the ship. And they go on, and they said, hang on, you've got no permission, you've got no documentation, no anything to land on here, show yourself. And they end up being exterminated. And in doing so, one thing I did with that scene with Farley, how his life ended, is a flashback to his life is flashing forward. And at the end, it's a little bit of that thing. We're introduced to him on a balcony, and he's holding a picture of his wife and child. And you think, okay, so like he's missed his wife and child and everything else, that sort of thing. But in actual fact, when he dies, and his life flashing before him, the thing that flashes at the end, like you really see all his flashbacks, death and everything else, is him hitting his wife, and she smacks her head on a counter. And basically said like, oh, she's, she basically punches. He basically punches her wife, and she dies of a head injury or something like a head, and leaves her on the floor bleeding to death from her head. That's the last memory we see of the character. He's only in it briefly, he is, but he ends up being shot down, and that's the last thing we probably know about him. It's like, oh, and that's where leads you think, oh shit, he killed his wife. Oh, and we saw he probably it's like a little twist. That's a twist. That is like, oh, we assume that he just left because he's just missing, like he has to go or something. No, he actually does. He's murdered his wife. No, but I don't know whether his son or anything, his child or anything. That's all thing. I think it is his son. Yeah, it's his son. Yeah. So not sure about where his son is, but his wife he murdered. So, and obviously we end up going to, we meet some of the characters like Grammar, who are actually based on Kelsey Grammer actually. So he's sort of incorporated. He's very, again, that's sort of Brian Glover, Harold Andrews thing. Again, alien-free infants, of course. And I think Farley was on Ralph Brown. Anyway, if I can remember, but he ends up dying quick earlier on. I expect that's all included. But you do that sort of thing, indeed, with the prisoners and stuff. And they do rebel against the Daleks. They do. For what I know, they end up taking one of the corridor and they end up writing and actually trying to rip it apart. Literally trying to rip its case off and its dome off and everything, like savages, and trying to rip out the Kali mutant, And one thing it does escape. It sort of comes alive and skulls in the air vents, and it does kill a janitor, a dog, and a child. It's bleak stuff, it is. And yeah, and basically, I think they found it and actually try and kill it with a broomstick or something like that, like it smack it, like this little squid thing going across, like in the vents, and it's basically killing, like someone hits a skull, they appear in the vents, and it sort of attacks their face or something. It's horrible. I did envision that once, many years ago, when I did a version of a story. I call it War of the Daleks, I did, but it's like, there was a scene I remember. It's about there were a fowl walking across the corridor, and he looks up, and this Kali mutant drops down and lands on his face and suffocates him to death. That was brief, but I think that's all a revision of that little scene. It is, and it's just bloody. It's like a little thing. Again, like a Kali mutant attacks a child and an animal as well. You only see like the dog, like an Alsatian, sniff around, of course. You see like you see like it lunges at it. Then afterwards you don't see the attack, of course, until you see the dog dead in the corridor, like lifeless, with half its face missing. Really. Same with the child. Same with the janitor. It's basically like it's bitten, took its face off, like one of his eyes is missing. It's horrible, bleak stuff. But also, there's the ending, of course, when one Dalek survives because the Doctor confronts them, the remaining ones, in the kitchen. It's like something like the Lazarus experiment, when he tries to blow up Professor Lazarus using, like he sets on the gas or something, like like he sets up the gas heaters and all the cookers and off, like overloads them and makes the kitchen explode. Same thing happens to the Daleks. It does. He destroys two of them. One of them gets out alive, burnt, and still alive, and holds hostage a girl, like a small girl, very much, and brings her to an airlock, which is a bit like Dalek's master plan with Katrina type thing. So, and basically, one thing he does, like what's the thing? Because the thing they wanted is a device that was found in one of the Venus's volcanoes, which was to do with during one of the wars, or one of the invasions of Earth. No, one of the invasions of Earth that the Daleks did many years ago. Probably since in the 2150s or the 2180s. There's two different Dalek wars there is, and they invaded. They did, but one of the ships ended up being blown up. But in that ship was a deadly weapon that they never used. They kept it as a sort of keepsake thing. If anything goes wrong, they can literally destroy the Earth or something. Blow it to pieces. A bit like you see, like a Death Star ray, but smaller. Nothing massive, just like this cannon thing that they have. But obviously, it's splintered to death, and obviously, since then, they've been rebuilding it. They've been scavenging for parts and whatever. Yours could be a breath of fresh air for the series. Plus, it destroys the Doctor Who is for kids mindset. Yes, because that's always think of that. Try and do something again. But I think of an adult sense, really. You think of like the expanded media type thing, in a way. It is, yeah. Even with children dying, that'll be an interesting thing, really. It's like, oh shit, kids can get killed as well. Kids don't live happily. They do. No, they end up being killed by horrible monsters and squid things. They do, or a robot like breaking their finger or something. Who knows? So going back to Barrier, Project Barrier. What do you think? What's it going again? So obviously they rebuilt the weapon. They rebuilt this cannon, of course. Obviously, one of the little pieces that was missing was like I don't know. It's not the trigger or something. It's like something to do with an energy thing or something. Like something to do with energy. Part of an energy thing it is, and obviously it's been included in the base. Venus used it as a base for it's called Venus Plus. It's known as this base, and they use it for the against horrible conditions, against the Venus's conditions and stuff that they tend to use. And the Dalek wants it. The Dalek demands the Doctor to take it, of course. Even some Doctor episodes, even in the classic era, they've got a lot of adult stories, like Genesis of the Daleks. Indeed. Oh, yeah. Genesis, yeah. I don't think it sort of feels like that. Mine feels like a gritty version of Death to the Daleks in a way. It's more akin to that in a way, but less campy, less Tristan Kerry music, weird music, a lot less comedy, no Bilal, no. I mean, they're after just like an energy source. Some do energy source. There's 4 of them, but they end up being mutilated. They do in horrible ways. Like one gets beaten up by the Exelons, the tribe Exelon, earlier on. It was only with sticks, like being battered by sticks, which seems like a flip side to that with the travelers, multiple travelers, and it feels like that's like space gypsies and whatever type thing. Using their fists and ripping the casing apart and everything else. Blinding it, like grabbing its eye stalk and holding it, like trying to blind it, whatever. And just basically just trying to rip this thing, like many people ripping it with their human hands or whatever. Oh, it's in trying to wrestle it down or tackle it. In a corridor. Yeah, Death to the Daleks was very daft. It is quite daft in a way. And I thought, something like that, I could probably, it really puts the mindset it does, really. So there's some weird comparisons to Death to the Daleks in this story that I've written. Obviously. Yeah. So towards the end, the Doctor sort of in a way, he offers it to them. With Daleks and like that, no wonder they kept losing. Absolutely. I mean, with these ones, they try to be, try to be cunning in a way. Especially with the one that mutant that got loose, that sort of went on a killing spree. It managed to escape death and the riots and stuff. And in the process, end up killing all sorts, really. But the other ones, they just shoot them down, really. It's like last time, like left, right, and centre, really. Like there's no mercy with them ones, really. They're just there to want something, demand something, and they basically want to shoot. They just want to kill everyone, really, in a way. It's like even with people who are armed, of course, it's like nope, they're gone, they're gone straight away. And with this one, of course, the Dalek wants the energy thing, of course. The Doctor tries to hand it to the Dalek in change for the child, but Grammer, who are based on, again, he's based on Kelsey Grammer, of course, repels the Doctor, actually knocks him out, and handcuffs him to the side. And what happens next is that the people who the Doctor has met, like the remaining people on this base, go in the airlock with the Dalek and lock themselves in. And they restrain the Dalek, like they did with the other one in the corridor. They restrain it because it's partly damaged and stuff, and they tackle it. And Grammer opens the airlock, and they all get sucked out. In a way, it's like the in a way, they won't let the Doctor do it. In a way, they said, there's a lot of death in hearing this whole thing. Really, I think it's because it's like what's the thing was around because how I did it was it's like these people sacrifice themselves for the Doctor. If you think about the Daleks, they are the most useless race in all sci-fi because the whole point is to kill. But what happens when all other life is wiped out? That's the thing. That's always an interesting thing, actually, because we don't even know, really. Hang on. It's always an interesting thing with those ones because of, well, we don't know, actually. They might just lay dormant or something. Who knows? When there's no life, when there's all barren, and they could just probably just be like a cruise control mode, I don't know, or they basically lay dormant, or self-destruct or kill themselves or something. Who knows? Like if their mission is complete, we really don't know. That's the thing. But that's how it really goes. Really, it's like it does resemble some more stories I remember. Like it's like with Midnight, where that stewardess takes out oh, what's her name? Sky Sylvester. But she ends up being possessed, of course, and trying to possess the Doctor. But she ends up sucking him, like sacrificing herself to get the creature out in the open. It's like that, really. It's like these people on Venus end up, you know, some of them human, some of them aliens, of course. They end up keeping the Doctor at bay, restraining the fella, restraining him, and they end up dying for his sake. It's like, you know, they sort of say, you know, no, don't be stupid, Doctor, you don't do that. You know, we'll do it. You just stay there and be knocked out, you know, and be handcuffed, while we, you know, take care of the creature. You know, in the future when the Daleks have wiped out everything, Dalek 1, fuck on board. Dalek 2, fancy a game of Monopoly. That'll be a really good sketch, actually. I'm surprised I don't think no one's ever done that yet, you know. Or it can lead to something else. It could be funny, or it can lead to something else. It's like, you know, one Dalek say, I'm depressed. You know, it's like, I am depressed, or something. Or, you know, oh, what do you call it? I don't know, really. You know, it's like, oh, I'm all alone. No, I'm thinking of that bloody gay Dalek stuff from TV Awful. If you've ever seen that, you can still watch it. It's on YouTube, it is, my God. You know, I think that's like the last one, of course. Like the fella soul, like, says, you know, oh, my friend is gone, or something, my partner, or something, my lover's gone. And I'm depressed. Might have a wank or something. Yeah, I should make that happen. Absolutely. That'll be something. Again, oh, you know, it's like Mr. TARDIS. He does those weird things with Cybermen. Was it Cyber Steve, Cyber Jeff, and Cyber Gavin? They're quite hilarious. It's like you know, always intercuts and stuff like that. You know, like gets a nice bit of footage and incorporates his modulated voice over it. They are quite funny, actually. Nice little side gags that he includes. I don't think he does it in Dalek December, but he did in Cyber December. He did. Again, which is, again, pretty funny. Adding the jokes in, of course, making people funny and more entertaining. That will be interesting. But I did some others as well, actually. Besides Project Barrow as a whole, really, that's a post-generated story set on a planet with the Daleks. Like, it's like, again, like Power of the Daleks, Alien Free, Death of the Daleks mixed together. It's that sort of thing. It's like a weird mixture of bits and pieces, more graphic in detail, like more killing, magic. Everyone dies in the end, really, except the Doctor and a couple of people who end up becoming his companions. You know, that's the thing. You know, it's like it's that sort of thing. It's like make it more darker. It's like, oh, do we trust the Doctor now? Actually, because he or she ends up causing a lot of people, a lot of humans and aliens to actually be sucked down on the surface of Venus, or been shot by a Dalek, or heavily mutilated, or something else. I don't know. It depends what happens in that base. You know, we don't know. But I actually read some interesting more as well. I did 60. I did. I could probably email you them as well. Actually, you know, there's quite. It's basically if my version of Doctor Who it is like. I'll probably do 10 episodes, 90-minute, like a 90-minute run time, and do 6 series. If I had to pick a film Doctor, that's absolutely fine, really. You know, it'll be interesting. I always think of an older actor, really, to take on the role. Do 6 series, so 60 stories, no specials. Probably maybe do like what series 12 did. Start on New Year's Day, and finish it there. Then wait until New Year's Day for the next series. That's how I really think of it, really. Because I don't really care for specials, really, in a way. You know, some half of them are good, half of them are not really. But you just have like the series. You know, start on. It's a bit like what they do back in the classic era, really. You know, start off in January, then you have to wait until next January for it or something. That's what I did. How I think of it, you know. But there are some bizarre stories I've written. Some of them are quite interesting. Some of them are like, some of them are half. Maybe one of them's half-assed in a way that I can think of is Broken Heroes. That's 3 different time zones, do with like and not the Ark of the Covenant, but a version of the Ark of the Covenant that's like stealing souls or whatever. And it's set in Okashiri, 1720, Krakatoa, 1883, and Peru, Lima, in 1910. And I couldn't really think of anything else to do. Like, slightly appears in those 3 different time zones now and again, like slotting through, slotting through them them ones really. Like, this in the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s really. That's probably the half-assed one I've done. But I've done some pretty bizarre stuff as well. Like In Search of Darkness. That's an interesting one. It's set in a house like a suburban house in the Hollywood Hills, and these people are having a house party. These teenagers are having a house party, and they think like, oh, it's going to go well and everything else. Like it's we've got the Kool-Aid, we've got snacks and everything else, we've got the booze, we've got the hash and stuff like that. We're going to have a fucking fantastic time. And the doctor shows up for a fridge, and his companions, they end up in the fridge, and he looks around and he points out there's something not right around here. And he looks around, and the bricks and the walls and the door are bricked up and everything else. My vision of Doctor Who could probably be more of a black comedy. The Doctor always stirs some shit up on a planet, buggers up right up when the shit kicks off, or when he gets bored. I don't know. That's an interesting one. None of that's ever happened actually in the show's history. That'd be an interesting way to go. Actually, he could be more again like he's sparking the fire. Who knows? He can cause many wars and stuff like that. He can cause a complicated, like a very much complicated story involving paradoxes, stuff like that. Like he's that sort of thing. It's like, or maybe it's like, again, cause more wars. He can cause another time war or something for his own benefit. That seems more like bloody Tenant era in a way. If he causes in a way like that sort of feels like Tennant's Doctor in a way. He can do like towards the end of his run, like the whole Time Lord Victoria stuff. He can do so like he just does what the fuck what he wants now because he's the last. He can stir up time and stuff like that. He can really cut the damage and shit. He could also ruin life, and he can look like say tough. I'm the brilliant man in the world. I'm the brilliant person in the world. I'm God. I can walk around. This whole place and basically just like, go, float around, and go to different towns. I'll go to this nice, wonderful jungle planet and stir shit up. I can basically sneeze on a dinosaur and cause the dinosaurs to extinct very early. It could be like that. He can probably toddle around, and probably he can do some weird shit. He can do. I don't know, but he does scream 10. That does. I don't know why. Your version sort of screams like it's ideal for the 10th Doctor era towards the end of his run. That could be an interesting 3-part series, really. 2009. That could be the whole thing, really. That also little arc involving him just like being, what he wants to do. It could be like in between Wars and Mars at the end of time, that 13-part series or something. Also, my doing isn't a pacifist. He still murders everyone who fucks with him. Oh wow. Oh. So like, I'm thinking about what was I thinking of? Because that springs to mind. The Big Fish audio drama, Unbound, Full Famine 5. That's it, with David Collins. He does that sort of thing, like how to just like the Doctor being cast and also ends up shooting people. Actually, Doctor actually carries an actual pistol with him. That's the only time that's ever been attempted, really. I think like properly dark stuff. It is on the water, like some underwater base, and it's like this mad professor. It's like no, I think in the end, it's like peace, save me. Of course, he ends up shooting the head. really. My doctor's son is a maniac. Oh, God. That'll be so interesting. I think with me, when I originally thought about that, actually, when I thought about doing a fan series, I did sort of suggest like the idea of the Doctor carrying a World War II pistol, like if he inherited it off Wilfred Mott at the end of End of Time or something like that. You know, it's Bernard Cribbins' old service revolver that he carries around with him. You know, or he carries around like a little penknife or something, like a little switchblade or something with him. In a way, like a distraction, like, you know, this fella is running away. I can throw a knife at him at his back or something. I don't know, like to knock him out or destabilize him or something like that. With what I've been doing, right? What is it? Actually, the villains are actually the good guys. That's true. Like the peaceful inhabitants and also the people he meets. You know, the antagonists, of course. You know, is yeah, that'll be interesting. It's not you feel more sympathetic with them lots, really, like some space Nazis or something like that. You know, like of this future Reich or something, like, you know. It's like you think like, why actually we sympathise with them a lot, of course, and the Doctor's like pandering around and basically doing all sorts, really. You know, flat out murdering people, flat out murdering the prisoners. Even I don't know. I don't know. I don't think the obvious idea is actually of the Doctor actually shagging someone. I don't know. Oh, that'd be too weird. I mean, being a maniac, of course, you never know what he might come out with or something else, or what his actions are. You never know. Probably some weird stuff. Who knows? He could. I don't know. Unless there's no Jay Taylor, I don't know. I always think of that. I do. I don't think there's no Jay Taylor whatsoever. Doctor or Time Lords ever do, really, because the whole looms thing. You know, it'd be like it's like Thomas Jerome Newton, Man Who Fell to Earth type thing. Have you ever seen that film? You know, because I always forgot that. You know, like, you know, but how low he is, of course, and it feels like he plays Thomas Newton and everything else. But underneath, you see like this pale skin alien has no jet or whatever. I always thought about that. Really, like it's just like in the way. I always think like, you know, they have like this. They have the bowl. They have this like bowls they do for where your prime parts or anything else. I always thought like the Time Lords, you know, they have like if you see one complete naked or whatever, there's something like a complete bulge, and also you don't have no nips or something, like actual no nipples or anything. I don't know, like it's pure clean breasts or something. I always think about that. I always thought about that for a good number of years. Really, still think about that still now and again. Actually, when people bring up looms and stuff, you think, sometimes. You know, that sort of thing. Because how they do that anyway? You know, some people think, you know, the shag like rabbits or something like that. You know, or some people do like winging medias, jokingly mentioned. But also, no, it's an interesting thing, really. Who knows? Going back to the idea of the Doctor not being a pacifist, there is an when I saw Bert and the Last Adventurers, obviously it's changed quite a bit now, actually, because it's. Oh, what was I thinking? Because it's been chopping and changing with the protagonist since then, because it deals with children's TV characters. It does, but they take on the role of the Doctor. They do. It's a weird thought actually, but they're more adult stories. Some stories deal with humans really just being the worst of the kind, really, because you see them in stories that I've written. So I can give you some examples actually. The third story I've written is called Revolt in 1857, to do with a guy called Blue, who's from the far future, who's an escaped prisoner who does human trafficking. He's just some guy in a leather jacket who's like some man in his 30s, really, and he just kidnaps women for money, really. And that's basically the villain of that story. It is. There's that one bloke who just basically wants to steal women and make a profit out of them, really. And he goes to India in the 1850s, Delhi, during the Sepoy Mutiny, and basically kidnaps the women. That's what his main thing is to do. And you've got people, these characters like you see from 60s to 90s or whatever. I think from up to 97, I think. Or I did it actually, and they basically just take on it really, and they do it in different ways. They could probably mutilate him, bash him to death. You know, they could be talking down, be a pacifist. You got others like, you know, other people who probably just like bash him to death for a cricket bat or something. You know, it depends on the characters really. You know, it's like how do they sort a problem out? do they use their brain or use their brawn in a way? Are they totally vain and stupid and it's basically just whack them to death with a bat or use their own fist? Or the nice inclined to a bit more sad, more sense of them? My doctor would be more like Dirty Harry and acid. Oh, that'll be interesting. Oh, that'll be weird. That'll be actually something. That will be interestingly. Yeah. Hunter S. Thompson, be like a Raoul Duke, Johnny Depp or something. take some weird cigarettes and stuff. Like has like a little, has one of those bloody cigarette holders they stick to his mouth most of the time with some weird sunglasses and some weird some Hawaiian travelers get up in a Panama hat or something. You know, just going around, you know, hallucinating his tits off or something. I've actually read a story like of the master who most of the time in that story he's on LSD because he ended up stuck in the 60s and he's ended up coming back where he's totally tripped his balls off. He is like he's really just like he's basically on the ground like he thinks the ground is sugar or something. He's very off. That master is interesting because how I characters sort of done with that master. It's interesting. With the Last Adventures, of course, there's different takes, there's different versions of like an alternative version of the master. But you still have the companions, of course, from the classic era, stuff like units, everything else, they're still very much the same as you remember them, really, in a way. It's like there's no doctor, well, there's different types of doctors there is, and there's this master who I based on Mark Kermode. Mark Kermode's the master, who is, there's a picture I found on Twitter of him. He, like, is back in his young days, back in the 90s or some 80s, I think the late 80s, early 90s, he's dressed as a teddy boy. The doctor regenerates as Clint Eastwood. That'll be interesting. That'll be good, actually. You know, there's possibilities. You never know. They can de-young him or something like that. You know, get him like back in the 70s or something. Is this companion orangutan? Well, that'll be good, actually. Get like the Clint Eastwood doctor and an orangutan companion. You know, who could be like a gentleman, smart genius name or something like that. Who knows? And he just basically just like goes around. You know, fingers his ass or something like that, smells it, that sort of thing. It's like, you know, so just basically goes around and annoys women or something. Who knows? It'll be, I'm just trying to think. It'll be like that, really. What do you call that film? Those films he was in. It's like them, but except he's the doctor and that's his companion. I don't know. I might be giving you some weird ideas or something. You think? I don't know. You know, I mean, there's that thing about Tom Baker wanted a talking cabbage as a companion. That's the thing. Like Tom Baker, one of his wishes he wanted was like just a cabbage that talks or something. You know, well, he had a talking cactus as a villain, so who knows? There's possibilities. I wonder if the fish can do that. You know, get Frobisher in or something like that. Get something like Robert Jessica or something, like a cabbage with a Brooklyn accent. I don't know. I mean, that's one thing. But going back to the master, who's based on Mark Kermode, he dresses a teddy boy in black. He does every which way but lose, and every which way you can. That's the films. Yes, oh, thank you. Because I remember it was years ago, a long time ago, and I think I saw the second one I did on TV. Any which way you can, yeah, that was the one. You know, that could be like an alternative version of that. You know, instead of like as a truck driver, he's a time traveler. As a orangutan, as a companion most of the time, and it's basically like again, something like Fear and Love in Las Vegas or something. That sort of thing, really. But with a lot of killing. Kills off all the guest stars and everything else. Be something like that. But I always thought about with protagonists and everything else. It's like you know, these characters are actually, you know, they're aimed at children really, but these ones, I would say, they're more. Everyone knows them as you look at them as adults. So you look at them in the 20s and 30s, you think it's more to them, really. You know, it's that sort of thing. It's like you know, it's like how you remember back in the day, of course. But obviously, through the stories I've written, there's 100 stories I've written, and there's 2 different sides to them. Like the first 50 are like their usual selves, really, in a way. So it's like, you know, their general selves, how they originally were, but they end up in situations that they've never dealt with before, really. You know, some like do human conflicts as aliens. There's some weird, trippy stuff there is involving being the mind of a girl, of a child in one, a bit like Mind Robber type thing, but way surreal and crude. That's in one way. There was some really disturbing versions of the Cybermen that they beat under Saddleworth Moor, where the Moors murders took place. Interestingly, you know, like they build a base underneath the moor, and kidnap walkers and livestock or whatever, turn and convert them into stuff in the most brutal, horrific ways. There's a sequel to The Idiot's Lantern from series 2. There is actually. It's in the 80s, which I think is. I look back and now I think, yeah, that definitely works. There is one to do with Phil Collins trying to steal Einstein's brain. There's one to do with, think of like Sam from 2001: A Space Odyssey takes over a water park. And it's like Paradise Towers, but a bit more, a lot more depth to it. You know, again, like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and Death Machine. That's Stephen Norton film Death Machine. Like with, you know, just basically like machinery, robots stuffing out us, trying to kill all the visitors and stuff, like in a pool on the side, lifeguards or whatever, try and kill them all because, you know, machines are taking over, that sort of thing. Again, Phil Collins steals Einstein's brain in a jar of cider and shoots people in his way because he somehow has a split personality disorder. That's one. There's one that's like Starship Troopers and The Thing together. That's called Ether. That is, you know, to do with American soldiers. Like they go on a spaceship with American soldiers, like full of pensions, and like they serve their country. They do everything, the weird chants and stuff like that. Because a friend of mine who I work with, well, sometimes work with now again, well, I've been for a couple of years. She used to serve in the Navy, and she went to Washington DC, and she come across all these American soldiers and stuff, and they do that as weird chants, these weird chants like they serve the country and stuff like that, and that's all they tend to say, like they've been brainwashed or something in America. It was a weird, strange thing that she told me, and I just incorporated that story. Really, it's like all they do: serve the country, shoot the enemy, and everything else. And it's like, America, that sort of thing. You know, it's like that's what they tend to do, and they basically, and these characters like who are British and everything else. You know, obscure from different dimensions. It's like, yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to resume Star Trek. So good night. That's fine, mate. Yeah, you enjoy it. I'm going to talk a bit more, of course. I'll send you some stuff over email anyway, like the script from Milk of Paradise and some story ideas as well, if you wish to view, which I'll send you at some point. Don't know when, but I will do. Thanks for you got my email anyway, so that's absolutely fine. And I've also got yours as well, mate. So that's fine. Anyway, see you later. Enjoy Star Trek, mate. I'll see you on Wednesday.